A few months ago, Patrick Faber took over the seat of the first deputy party leader for the United Democratic Party and the post of deputy prime minister, which were both previously held by Gaspar Vega. In November of 2015, Vega was stripped of the land portfolio, and that was given to Senator Godwin Hulse. It would all seem part of a strategic plan, perhaps almost prophetic, that these movements would occur a short time before Vega found himself in a land scandal that has left a bitter taste in even the mouths of some stalwart UDP supporters. But having resigned from cabinet seems to be a slap on the wrist for the indiscretion surrounding the land flip involving the former minister's son, Andre Vega. We say a slap on the wrist, but the deputy prime minister says not so.
In your question, you assume that there is some kind of letting off the hook for Honorable Vega. And I can't agree with that premise. You've heard the Prime Minister and, in fact, the Minister of Lands, Honorable Vanessa Retreat, say that, in fact, there is an audit of the activities that happened in the Ministry of Natural Resources, and that, in fact, that they will continue to pursue that, and also the recovery of the monies having to do with the case related to Mr. Vega and his son. So I don't agree with the premise that he has been let off the hook. Nobody has said anything about letting Mr. Vega off the hook insofar as it relates to that case, or in fact any other case that might show its head as a result of the audit report that the Auditor General is saying will come. So Mr. Vega is not getting an easy ride.
Fine, you're saying that it hasn't been concluded that a crime has been committed, but don't you find it disturbing that discretion was not utilized on Mr. Vega's part? I mean, you're the Minister of Lands.
This is your son.
This is your son. He bears your blood, your DNA, your last name, and you are aware of the habit of flipping lands within the ministry, and you still go ahead and sign off on $400,000. Does that not at least seem unethical or unacceptable, if not criminal, but use your discretion? $400,000.
If it is, you're asking me if I've ever been concerned, or if I'm concerned. Yes, I am. But I am not going to crucify my colleague that there is due process that ought to be given. If I am concerned, yes, but let's give the process a chance to see if there is some kind of concrete evidence to what we all observe to be the case, or we all suppose we know about the case. If there is the kind of evidence, then let's get that kind of evidence. Let the investigation continue as we know it is being continued, and then let the chips fall where they may once the result of that comes out. My personal decision, your personal decision, or anybody's personal decision not backed up with the evidence or the facts will not get us very far. And you know that there is difficulty. You know that, in fact, that I have put myself forward against Mr. Vega in the past. I have always been concerned, and that is where I leave it, just at the concern. If I don't have any evidence, I can't do anything about it.
And while Vega is no longer a member of cabinet, Minister John Saldivar remains on 1-week leave at the directive of the Prime Minister. A brief release was sent out from the government's press office indicating that the government's intention to investigate the matter between William Mason and Minister Saldivar surrounding the Belmopan bandits. According to Faber, he supports the decision and trusts that the truth will come to light.
Week in government is tough. I'll tell you that there are only weeks that are more tough, and I would agree with you that this has been a very difficult week for the United Democratic Party. And I don't want to get into too much of that position. I will only say that I support my colleague Minister Saldivar in trying to clear his name in this situation. And I will tell you also that while I support him, I support the Prime Minister in trying to make sure that our party, and more importantly, the government, is on the up and up. And I support his judgment in making the call. as did Minister Saldivar. If you recall, he put out a post to say that he respected the decision of the Prime Minister and that he's cooperating. And I hope that in the time that the Prime Minister seeks the clarification that he needs, that that clarification will come for Minister Saldivar's sake. But I support my colleague despite any differences that people might want to see. He is my colleague and I support him 100% in his aim to try to clear his name.
So doesn't this prove that men are infallible?
Corruption is going to happen anywhere you go once there are human beings involved. And in fact, you've heard me on the topic before to say that yes, there are corrupted politicians, but there are also corrupted people in the electorate. I'll give you an example, Daniel. I was called by one individual yesterday to say, oh, the customs are raiding my house, or and I said, well, what are they looking for? They said, well, we have some contraband stuff here, some beer and everything. So, what is it that you expect me to do about that? The individual wanted me to get involved and to call somebody and to stop that because I supported you and I'm saying there are pressures coming from people in the electorate out there, and some of it seems very simple. I want to go to free zone. You can't get me a pass when you know you don't belong in the free zone. Or they are giving a parking ticket. Can you get this ticket written off for me? There are numerous things. People asking you for money on a daily, large sums of money. I'm going to jail tomorrow. You could give me $2,000, make I not go to jail. Where is it that politicians are to get these money from? And anybody would dish out that kind of money involving something, because the salaries that politicians make, while some will argue is a good salary, it's not the kind of money that you could do all of this kind of stuff with. So yes, there are these temptations, but we maintain that what makes the United Democratic Party different from any other political party is what we do when that corruption is proven and the facts are given. And that is what sets us apart. It's not that corruption is not happening, it is what is done. And if you check the record of the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, you will see that every time he is confronted with these situations and he's given the kind of evidence and facts that he's able to do something, he tries to be fair to all parties concerned, but he acts. And you might not be satisfied with the extent to which he acts. You might say that there's a lot to be desired in what he could do, but you cannot deny that he has acted. And that is a far cry different from how the PUPs operated in government.
I'm glad